Yo, what is up,
What's going on,
guys?
everybody?
Welcome back to Two Dads in a Pod. I am your co-host, Travis Niles.
I'm Chase Wade.
I'm glad to see you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. A little recap. We talked about we both shared our testimony. Had some heavy stuff. Today, we're going to keep it a little bit lighter. What do you want to talk about today, Chase?
Well, we're basically going to talk about where we are now, kind of going off of our testimonies of last week and how we got to where we were, but now we're going to pretty much focus on where we are now.
Yep. Both going to share about kind of where we are. I can give y'all too much personal information because we don't need y'all trying to find us anywhere. But we got to protect our anonymity, right? Even though we gave our name and you have our images.
That's all people need nowadays.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's all they need to find us now. They can screen grab and Google search image and they'll know where we are.
We told them where we were last week, like where we
That's
were
true.
located.
Yeah. Man, we just gave all the information away in the first episode.
Hey, we're trustworthy people. What can I say?
I mean, listen, if you're going to impersonate me, just make me rich. All right? Because I'm already poor. So you're not going to get anything out of this. Oh, my credit's shot, so you're not about to take my credit.
Same.
So, well, I went first last week, so I guess we'll just kick it off and going off of where we ended with the testimony, Chase. You've been through a lot, gone through a lot, but now you're living a life of abundance, or not abundance. I guess you're living a life in grace and mercy from God. So where are you now?
Well, now I feel like I feel like I have a good life now. Like I've turned around, and I'm proud of where I'm at and the journey. I'm proud of my journey, how I got to where I am. Mm-hmm. So basically, like I said last week, I had a daughter with a previous wife. Her birthday was last month, actually. So she's 10 years old now. And so I also said that I moved to Rock Hill and I met my wife. We actually just had our 2-year anniversary a week and a half ago. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So and earlier this year, well, mid-time this year, I guess, in July, we had a baby boy. And so now he's about to be 4 months old.
Awesome.
Yep. Mine and his are gonna be best friends.
Yep.
Growing up. So, so I'll rewind a little bit. So I moved to South Carolina from Georgia just because nothing was really going for me in Georgia anymore. And, I needed a fresh start after everything that happened to me, as you know from my testimony. So I moved for opportunity and just a fresh start. So I've been in construction for over 15 years now. Started when I was 15 and 31 now. So construction industry is booming in the Charlotte market, and where we're located, we're 30 minutes outside of Charlotte. So the opportunity came up and I took it. And it was difficult to leave my mom and dad, my sisters and brother-in-laws, and my nieces and nephews behind, because I got a lot of nieces and nephews.
Yeah, you do.
And but it was a great choice for me personally to uproot and just start a new life and get to reconnect with family, because all my family is from Rock Hill, and so I have all my cousins and my grandparents and my lovely wife and one of my best friends, Travis, and his family, obviously. It was difficult, but I'm glad that I did it. And it's not always easy, but I mean, I miss home a lot. But like I said, it was just a great choice for me. So the opportunity came
Yeah.
up, so I
How
took
did you
it. A
meet your
construction
wife?
job offered me. Oh, so I've known my wife pretty much for 13 years now. She was my cousin's best friend, actually. So you could say that I swooned in and just stole her, but that's what my cousin would say. But yeah, so actually grew up with her. Just every time I'd come visit, she'd be with my cousin, and we always had kind of had like, this flirty vibe going on for all these years. But um, so yeah, when I moved back, we kind of reconnected, and that was that. We just fell in love, and
Yeah.
here we are, 2 years later, married, and been great. I love my wife to death, and we just started our own family. I already have my 10-year-old, but and she loves her to death. But we have a child of our own now, and yeah, it's just been really great. Marriage is awesome. Um, but yeah, the construction job, they reached out to me and offered me a position, and so I just took it. And one weekend I was in Georgia, and by Friday I was in Rock Hill. So uh, yeah, I like what I do. I'm a construction manager for a residential framing company. We build production houses for like Lennar and LGI, and the big Fortune 500 builders out there. And
Mm-hmm.
it's humbling to build a house, and you get a lot of joy out of it because you get to see the final product of what you produce. And I blue collar work is awesome to me because I consider Jesus as a blue collar worker because he was a carpenter, and I feel like I'm doing what Jesus does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
uh, but
Definitely know
yeah,
what you
like
mean.
I love construction. I've been doing it that's the only job I've ever had. But I did it in the military as well. That's all I've ever done. That's all I know. But so that is pretty much my like going into my family and going into my job. But so my uncle is the pastor of
Mm-hmm.
the church. We talked about him last week. His name is Joey Deese. So my family's been going to this church for 30, 40 years now. So I grew up in that church. Like every time I'd visit, my grandmother would make me go, Dolly. So yeah, she'd make me go, and my uncle became the pastor. How long ago now, Travis?
Golly.
10, 12 years, would you say?
Yeah. I want to say, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he got
10,
the
12 years.
honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got the honor of becoming the pastor. And so, when I moved back, I uh, just started attending that church. And, I got to reconnect with Travis and,
Mm-hmm.
Kayla and just a bunch of other people that I've met through that church. And, it's just been really awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, I serve through the church. I'm on the worship team. I'm the youth worship leader for the church, so I run the youth worship, and I get to work with Travis every week, and it's just been great. I'm pretty sure he'll go into that whenever it's his turn, but
Yeah.
he is actually the worship leader for our church, so he found out that I have passion for music just like he does, and so we just get up there and pour it out to God, and it's pretty cool and humbling. Just a great experience to lead the congregation in worship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's pretty much where I'm at now. So, Travis, do
Awesome.
you have anything?
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. I love hearing people's stories, especially seeing where God's brought them, and then seeing where God has them in the moment, in the present. I see, like sometimes we hear about people's testimonies, and we don't always hear about. Don't always hear about where they are currently, because I mean, so much happens and so much changes. Part of my testimony last week we talked about in the last episode. At one point in my faith, and even when I was younger in my faith, I walked away from God because I wanted to go into partying and stuff like that. And sometimes people might be in that position now. If you guys are in that position, throw a comment below. Not everybody's perfect. Chase and I both are not perfect, that's for sure. But I'll jump into where I was and how I am now, and I shared with you guys a little bit last week, kind of where I came from and in my adult life. And as Chase alluded to, now I am the worship pastor at our church, which has been same thing for him, same for me. It's a humbling experience being up there and leading the congregation. It's not. People sometimes will get upset or it sucks, and my wife just texted me. The baby's awake. He's having a hard time sleeping in his crib now. It is.
Yeah, that transition's hard, man.
It sucks because we try to let him cry it out, and he is not having it. He will cry for like hours. We tried to do it last night, and that was not happening. We tried to do it tonight, and that wasn't happening. And but anyways, I have 3 kids now. My oldest is 14. My daughter is 6. And my newborn, who was born in January this year. So Chase and I both have had newborns this year, and mine's a little bit older, but I baby them, and really it's my fault. I'll take the blame for that. I have my lovely wife. We've been married. We'll be celebrating our 8-year anniversary in the spring. And just like Chase, she and I had met 10 years prior to actually getting in a relationship and getting married. We both met at our youth group. I was a youth leader at the time. And so she got to see me in my days when I was on fire, and then also my days when I disappeared and was doing all the partying and stuff. And so she can definitely attest to, that time I spent when I walked away from Jesus, just to indulge in myself and my fleshly desires. And so she'll corroborate all that as well. But, it's interesting how she and I ended up getting together. I feel so terrible saying this, but so I was actually interested in her friend, and her friend had no interest in me whatsoever. It was clear as day. She had no interest in me whatsoever. And so in the process of that, we were actually going down to Chase's
My sister
was getting married.
My sister's wedding.
Yep. And and I remember it was me and her and then 2 of our other friends. We drove down for the wedding, and we were at the wedding, and I'll never forget this as clear as day. When God spoke to me and told me she was going to be my future wife. We were sitting there, and this is part of the reception now, and she was standing in line with one of the other girls that rode down with us, and I remember looking at her. And I wasn't thinking, like I said, at the time I was pursuing her friend, so I wasn't even thinking about her, as even dating or marriage material. But in that moment, I remember hearing clear as day God say, "Hey, you're going to marry that girl." And me being stupid, I was like, "All right, I'm gonna ask her to dance." And depending on her response, God, I'm not going to marry her. Thinking that I could make that determination. I can be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna do whatever I want," And I asked her to dance, and she told me no. And I remember initially thinking to myself, I'm probably not going to marry her because she said no. But really, because she said no, that kind of just solidified it in my head. It was an unreal experience because just the way she said it and just the way her voice came out, it just seemed like it was just God just making that confirmation. And then she and I started dating after that trip. Like I said, we'd already been friends for 10 years now. And then in about 6 or 7 months after dating, I'd asked her father if I could take her hand in marriage. and I proposed to her. We were actually planning on we had a trip that weekend with some friends to go to Tennessee, and we that Wednesday, it was during a youth service. I decided, I was like, I'm going to speed this up. I'm not going to wait till the weekend. I'm going to ask her that Wednesday, and we had a tornado watch that night. So, so the weather outside was just going crazy. And we got inside and we played charades, and I got the kids, we're playing charades, and that's how I proposed. We had them did the whole charade thing, and didn't record any of it. And that was how I proposed to my wife. And there have been some ups and downs. No marriage is perfect. And you know what? I feel like some people don't always see that. They always see people who've been married for a while, and they'd be like, they're like, oh, that looks such a happy family. And it's hard, man. It's being married is so hard. Especially when,
Oh yeah, you gotta
when you're trying to,
coexist.
exactly, like going from being single to now being with somebody else, is already hard enough as it is. And then, you start raising children together, and it's like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
realize how much, the longer you get married, and especially when you build a family as well, you start realizing in bits and pieces, it's less about you and it's more about the team. And, it's my fault, really. I had a lot of selfish moments, but I tell you what, she's been at my side through thick and thin, and I can't, we'll be celebrating 8 years. I can't wait to celebrate with her. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with her as well. We've been going through, just little bits and pieces, going through a couple of different sermon series at church. And, um, the sermon series we're going through right now is Upside Down. I remember thinking this past week, just, our pastor, Chase brought up his uncle, Joey, pastor of our church, but he was talking about, one of the things he mentioned was about never stop pursuing your wife. Sometimes we get comfortable. We get complacent, and hold on a second. We get complacent, and we get a little too comfortable. We stop pursuing our wives, sometimes, and I'm sure some of you listeners could definitely, you, you guys can kind of not compare. What's the word I'm looking for? You relate. You guys can definitely relate to that. And like we said, we're not here to be perfect. We're here our lives are just as messy as you guys. I've seen people talking about this all the time, and they'll have the little interviews, and they'll make it look like, oh yeah, we're happy. They'll give you kind of the cushy stuff. It's like, no, man,
Oh
it's
yeah,
there have been parts where it sucked, man. you
movies,
know,
TV shows, man, not like
yeah,
that.
no,
Not
we're
like
not like
that
that
at
at all.
all.
But yeah, it's hard, man. It's a struggle sometimes, man. But I wouldn't do it with anybody else. I've
Oh,
she's asked me a couple
100%.
times in the past, and she'll be like, what if anything ever happened to me, what would you do? And I'm like, I'm not getting married again. She's like, would you ever do? I'm like, no, I did it once. I'm satisfied. God gave me a wonderful wife. I'm not trying to start over with anybody else. She'd have a hard time divorcing me because wherever she went, I'd go. She ain't got a choice.
Oh
I followed
boy.
into earth, man. I'm not trying to marry anybody else. I just want to be able to show her the love that she deserves, really. And I need to do a better job of that. Even here recently, man, I haven't shown her that love that she needs and that she craves. But she knows that I love her. I've never, and I don't know if you have this. Actually, I don't. Chase doesn't have this issue because he tries to act tough. He's a big softy. Because I am not the romantic type at all. I am terrible about giving gifts and stuff like that. Um, and and she knows that, and she puts up with that. But she shouldn't have to. Really, realistically speaking, I should be better at that stuff because I love her. Right? I should try to be better at that
Yeah.
stuff because I love her. And you know what? I think that's one of those things I miss out on. I saw Chaser picture from the other day of you and your wife dressing up for Halloween. And I was like, you know what? That's cute. I should be willing to do that for my wife, right? If my wife asks me, hey, I want you to dress up, I shouldn't be complaining about it. And I really should, those are the things that she wants. And that, I should be caving for her, right? There's all kinds of stuff that she allows me to do. and the least I could do is cater for her desires. And I'm terrible about that. You know, I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you guys, you know, I am a horrible husband in that aspect. But I want to be better. You know, I want to be the best husband that I possibly can be and the best father I can be to my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
So that's always been, you know, that's where I am right now. Right now in my life, I'm trying to be a better husband and a better father. But above all else, a better husband to her. So
Yeah,
that's where
I
I am right
mean,
now.
the whole goal of marriage is, is to grow every day together.
Yeah.
But it's also to make the other person more like Christ every day.
Yeah.
Marriage is so selfless. It's not supposed to be selfish, It's supposed to
Yeah.
be you're supposed to always be about that other person. But we all have our battles and everything. Me and my wife, we argue, like we fight. We don't always agree on everything, but at the end of the day, we love each other.
Yep.
You got to
Hold on a
set.
second, Chase.
All right.
I'm getting a bad echo from you right now. And I don't know what that's coming from.
No, I don't know.
Hold on.
Is it getting any better?
No, I don't know why I'm getting.
Let me try something here.
Some breakup. Check. Check your mic.
Check.
No, it's still there. I wonder if it's my end. I would not be surprised.
You still have headphones in or no?
Let's see here. Go ahead and talk now.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on. No, it's still breaking up. Let me see if I change. Talk now?
Yo.
Okay, it's gone.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, yeah. So what I was continuing from what I was saying is, you got to set rules in your marriage too. Like rules are very important in your marriage. Boundaries, rules, like whatever you want to call them, they're very important.
Yeah.
And one rule that me and my wife actually decided to do while we were dating is we told each other from the very start we're never going to buy each other a gift.
Oh, nice.
We've
That's
never
a great
bought.
compromise.
We have never bought each other a gift once since we've
Are
been
you guys
together.
terrible gift givers? I know Daniel probably is.
No, we're just really busy people, to be honest with you, and we just don't have the time to think about a gift. And it's not anything malicious, and anything like it doesn't. A gift doesn't symbolize our love. We're not. What's that? Love language like?
Oh, you're not.
Where
I know what you mean.
Where people like to get gifts or give gifts. We're not that. Our love language, because we did that love language test and whatever. Our love language is just being together. The one that's like being together and just talking. Like the quality time. That one, yeah, quality time, words of affirmation. We like that,
Yeah,
and gifts just aren't important to us. Yeah. So, I mean, that's awesome. It's important to some people, and I'm not knocking giving gifts. Don't get me wrong. Like if that's your thing, by all means. But you got to talk to your marriage. You got to talk, like what your likes and what dislikes are. And like kind of going off what Travis was saying. It's not always easy. Like moving in with somebody. Dating them was one thing, but once you move in, it's like.
Yeah.
You get to see how they live a lifestyle at home.
Yeah,
and
you get to see everything.
It's like it's kind of shell shocking, like whenever you at first, but you get used to it. You got to compromise, but oh yeah, Travis knows.
Yeah,
Travis
Chase didn't realize how because for those who don't know, Chase is on time. Chase is a timely individual, and his wife is not. And it's the same way with me and my wife. My wife loves to be on time. My wife loves to be early. I, however, am not that way at all. Especially like with parties, I've always been like if it's a party, if it's a gathering, be late. You never want to be the first person who shows up at a party. That's like
No, that's
party rule
awkward,
number
man.
one.
That's
It's awkward,
awkward.
exactly. She doesn't realize that. So all of her like family events and stuff that we have, she's always wants to be on time, and I'm just like, nah, it's not happening. It's like we're gonna be. I'm gonna make sure we're late. Like I do it on purpose. You know, she's gonna watch this episode, and she's gonna be upset with me. She's gonna be like, that's what's happening, Travis. You're not really like, yeah.
Well, the big one for us is I'm neat. I'm really neat.
Oh
My,
yeah.
my wife's not. Like,
See, I wasn't gonna mention that, but you did.
well, I can. So,
Yeah, you could do that.
like, my closet is like
Put together.
OCD pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, I have all my hangers are either black or white. White is work clothes. Black is normal go out
Oh wow.
clothes.
I didn't know.
Yep.
I didn't know it was that far.
Oh yeah, and they're all like spaced
Yeah.
pretty evenly. I just like it to look nice, man. You know, I
Yeah.
got shelves in my closet, so it's like I got all my pants in one shelf, my shorts in another shelf. I got my shoes lined up. Our closet, you go in it, it's like a tornado, dude. You
Man.
can't even see the ground. So
She's
like,
gonna kill you.
if y'all are gonna buy a house, make sure you get his and hers closet. I'll tell you, it'll save your marriage. His and her closets are godly. Let me tell you.
Man, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. You know what my wife does? It doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of cute, but she like we don't have a his or her sink. We're actually planning on doing a bathroom remodel, and she wants a his and her sink, and I doubt it's gonna work because even then, like now she still uses my like I don't, you know, I'm a guy, I don't really need a lot. She definitely uses my side of the sink no matter what. And I think even if we get a his and hers, like she'll still use my side of the sink for just to do stuff. One thing my wife does is she loves her like affectionate hugs and stuff like that. Like she gives like goofy. She's not a PDA person at all, so she won't do that out in public. But you know, I'll get home and she has this little quirky smile she does when she wants a hug. You know, and I'll just like oh my gosh, like I'll go hug her, and she knows it's annoying when when you hug too long. Like I'll give her the good hug, and then I'm just like all right, time for me to move on, right? To not move on, but to go do my thing or whatever it is I'm doing. And she is 100% like no, she won't let me go. I'm like babe, I got it. Like even right before we were recording this, I went into the room. She was getting ready to go to bed, and I was telling her goodnight, and I was gonna be there soon, and she was like asked me for a hug. You can tell me goodnight. And I was like, all right, I'll tell you goodnight. And then she wouldn't let me go. She knew exactly what she was doing, and so she just little quirky things like that. For those of you who are not married, get you some. A bunch of losers. No, I'm joking. You'll be there eventually. For those of you who are married, you know exactly what we're talking about.
The old ball and chain.
The old ball and chain. That's right. Oh man! So I'll tell you what. Let's transition into talking some sports notes, faith, family, football.
Oh, I had some question on your family.
Go ahead. Ask away.
So what you didn't dive into is the fact that your first son, you actually adopted him.
Yes.
I feel that's important, and that's an awesome thing to talk about and do.
Yeah, it's crazy because I never think about that because to me he's just my son, and that's so true. So my wife had our oldest son. He's 14 years old now. But she had him with another guy previously who he didn't want to be part of his life at all. And I remember even crazier is when she and I were dating. We hadn't even discussed like talking about marriage or anything yet. And one day we were hanging out. I think we were watching TV. I was in the living room watching. She and I were watching a show or something like that. I might have been watching a movie. And it was like a Saturday afternoon. He comes in the room and he asks me if he can call me dad. And this is when he's 5 years old. Or no, he might have been 6 at the time, or maybe just get ready. Anyways, he asked me if he can call me dad, and it blew my mind, because we hadn't even discussed marriage or anything like that, and it it it, I just remember sitting there shocked. She and I were both sitting there shocked, and I'll tell you what, man, I love that kid to death. I really do. He's like I said, he's 14 now. He's taller than me. He's so goofy. He's going through his teenage years.
He's huge,
now.
man. He's huge.
He's massive, yeah. Skinny little thing, but he plays basketball. He's going through that age now where he's getting his independence and stuff like that. But he still loves to like goof off. He tries to act cool most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We all were there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
But he's absolutely still a goofball. That's the part that's so funny to me is how much of a goofball he is now, and he tries to hide it, and he's still like, we were in the car yet. Was yesterday Sunday after church? We went to go get lunch, and we were in the car just chatting and just laughing, and we're going through drive-through, and he's just telling me jokes, and we're watching memes and just rolling in the drive-through and stuff like that, and. But anyway, shortly after we got married, my wife and I went through the process of getting the adoption papers and all that stuff, and had to go track down the dad, and had to have him sign over his stuff, his rights, parental rights and whatnot. Yeah. Which is always like never fun. It's always awkward because you're the current dad meeting the dad, and you're always worried about that kind of that challenge and stuff like that, but. For me, it's not a big issue. I was definitely he's shorter and smaller than me, and you guys can't see from the camera, but I'm a relatively big guy, or so I've been told. But I was never worried about having to fight for my wife or for my kids, and that's not necessarily from being a big kind of thing. It's more of like a family thing, and any husband, any father will tell you that, like, they're not, or I won't say any husband, any father. The right kinds of husbands and the right kind of fathers will tell you that. There are a lot of deadbeat dads out there, unfortunately. But for the men out there who love their family and love their wife and their children, you know exactly what we're talking about, right? I'll 10 toes down, right? I will go down. I will fight tooth and nail for my wife and kids. I don't care who you are. There might be a day when I get beat up for it, but I'll take that beating if it means defending my wife and my kids. And hopefully I won't have to take that beating, but hopefully we'll be able to get it resolved before then. That's always the preferable outcome. But yeah, he signed over his rights, and we went through the process. We did the adoption thing. We did the court hearing, all that stuff. And they gave us a little teddy bear to symbolize the adoption day. And sure enough, he got a new Social Security card. He's got my last name now. We're all the Niles, and it was one of the most amazing days of my life. There's the day I gave my life to Christ, the day I got married, the day I adopted my son, the day my daughter was born, the day my third son or my third child or my second son was born. There's times I look back on my life, and I'm sure you probably do the same thing too, Chase. When I look back on my life, and it blows my mind where I am now. Especially after, you guys heard my testimony last week, right? When I was younger, when I was young and dumb, man, doing all kinds of stupid stuff, getting in trouble, to the point where my mom just shipped me off to my dad's and going across the country and all that stuff. Like that's Travis then to Travis now is such a completely different person.
180 did complete 180.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't. Me then would look at me now probably be in disbelief, if I'm being honest. And even me now looking back, I'm just like, I can't believe who I was then.
Well, I mean, back then you'd probably make fun of you right now.
Oh, I probably 100% probably make fun of me now. Like, it's even, man, I'll tell you how God works, right? Even when I was younger, before I met my wife, I had always, like, one of my rules, like I had a strict dating life, and people didn't know who I dated. People never knew who my girlfriends were, all that kind of stuff. And because I didn't like to have like a messy dating life. And one of my rules at the time, before I met my wife, was that I didn't ever want to date a woman who had children. And the it wasn't that I thought they were inferior or anything like that, but I didn't ever want to deal with like the baby daddy drama. Didn't ever want to deal with that. But I love this woman and I love this child, and I always had a blast with them. You know, anytime they needed anything, I would always come and help. I remember one time he got she bought him a basketball goal, and you know, a regular basketball, and also like one of the indoor ones. You know, anytime when she bought him that kind of stuff, and she needed help putting it together, she'd give me a call, and I had no problem going and helping put that stuff up. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. I really wouldn't. That's my boy. You know, that's my girl. That's my youngest. That's my wife. You know, I wouldn't trade anything for the world. If I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all the same way. So
beautiful family too. Beautiful family.
Thank you. I know I got lucky, man. I got 3 really good looking kids, in my opinion. I think everybody says that about their kids.
I think the oldest guy his looks from you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember teaching him to be, you know, when he was younger, he was a little bit, you know, when we first got married, he was a little bit softer of a kid, a little too emotional. And I remember having to teach him how to be, you know, be a little tougher. And now he's just a class clown. We hear from his teachers all the time. He's always making his teachers laugh, and he has a zeal for life. He loves having a good time. But he's got a great head on his shoulders too. Probably the one thing about him, characteristic he has, that's the most impressive thing about him, is that, and I hope he keeps this. I really do. But he never tries to change or sway what he does for his friends. I've seen him do it time and again. Like his friends will do something stupid, and he won't follow suit.
Yeah.
He's had a couple mishaps here and there. You know, I'm sure everybody does. But I've always told him, by one of the cardinal rules I've always told him, is that it's okay to have fun, but don't be stupid, right? Because that's what always gets people in trouble. You know, especially if you're a guy, you know, or things have changed nowadays. Boys aren't as wild as they used to be. But I'm sure, Chase, you probably remember when you were younger, right? When we had fun, we didn't think about being stupid, right? We would just go out and do something regardless of how stupid it was, you know.
Well,
And
our
clearly you guys heard my testimony.
fun was stupid.
Exactly. My fun was stupid. It got me in a lot of trouble, you know, as you guys remember from last week, you know, from the last episode, my testimony, right? It got me in a lot of trouble. And I don't want to see my kids make that same mistake. I would love to see them have a good time hanging out and stuff like that with their friends. But when you do stupid stuff gets you into stupid situations, man. And stupid situations can ruin your life. My son's current dream right now is that he wants to be an NBA basketball player. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I'll support your dream. 100% will support your dream, as far as we can go. You know, I would love to see him playing in the NBA one day. But I would hate for him to lose out on that dream, not because he chose to give it up, or because he chooses to chase something else. But if he loses out on that dream because he does something stupid and he has to give it up, that's, you know, I've seen too many people walking around this life with regret, with them thinking like, oh man, I should have made better decisions. I don't want to see him in that position. So,
yep. Regret is horrible.
Regret is horrible. It really is.
But going on the whole stupid thing, like, I'll tell you what, like, dumb. You know the old game Manhunt. Like, that used to be a game. Like, where one person was like it, and you'd all go like, it's kind of like an intense version of hide and seek.
Oh
right?
Yeah, so
you've been to St. Mary's, so downtown St. Mary's, you know, beautiful place, right? Me and my friends would run downtown when we were young. So we're playing Manhunt downtown, and me and my friend, this is how stupid we were. Me and my friends decided to go under the pier of like a restaurant, and it had a pier, and that's where we hid. And the guy, that was it, sees us. So we're rushing to get out of there. My friend steps on a pipe and busts it. Turns out it was a water main to that restaurant. So we all get out, you know, and we all get out, and we're like, you busted a pipe. And then his little brother the guy that stepped on the pipe, his little brother comes over and he just screams, "You busted the pipe!" And by that time, the owner's outside looking, and he heard, and he like called us. He's like, "Get over here! I'm calling the cops." So we just book it. We just run. We run.
Did he know who you guys were?
Like I'm pretty sure he did, but nothing ever came of it. But we booked it all the way to his house. But it's just like stupid things like that. Like we could have gotten in trouble for that. We could have made our parents pay to fix this water main.
Yeah, for real. And that's an expensive thing, man. Talking about by the way, we're going to St. Mary's this weekend to hang out and watch the Florida Georgia game. Talk about a beautiful place, right? I like Rock Hill. Rock Hill's nice, but man, St. Mary's is quite a beautiful place.
Not many people know about it, man. It's like it's a little blip on the map. It's very tip of southern Georgia, and it's just like that's why I miss it a lot, man. I miss it so much because it's like a little piece of paradise right there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it's in Georgia. You could pick a better place. You could put it in South Carolina somewhere. But it is really a beautiful. It's one of my the two most beautiful places I've been to. Tybee Island in Georgia, both of them in Georgia. Unfortunately, even I'm a Florida fan. I can't believe I'm about to put it. You're talking about two Georgia places. This is so unfortunate. But Tybee Island is such a beautiful little spot. It's a very quiet, quaint little town. Pretty much shuts down at like 9:00 at night. All the restaurants close down at that time usually. Every time we go to visit, you can't really order anything or do anything after 9. It's a wonderful fishing spot as well. And then St. Mary's is probably right up there with it, because the thing about St. Mary's that I love, it's got those the moss, the willows. What are those trees that have like the moss growing on it, and it's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh man.
Like the weeping willows, is that what it's called? I don't know.
I can't.
Whatever those types of trees are, those trees are some of the most beautiful trees. And then it's another thing too. It's got some great fishing spots too. It's very humid down there, which I love. I love the humidity. I'm a big fan of humidity.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are. They hate it because it's so hot. It's uncomfortable. I'm like, man, just toughen up.
Travis been to St. Mary's a couple times.
Yeah.
He's never been to my parents' new house, and they're getting to go this weekend.
Yeah. And I'm excited.
My parents they just bought it a couple years ago. They bought a house on the river, so their house overlooks the river, and it's really just beautiful, just quiet, and it's just like I said, a little piece of paradise, man. And it's just.
I'm hoping we get to do a little bit of. Are you taking your guitar with you?
I am.
Okay, sweet. Okay, good.
I thought
we get to do a little bit of singing.
I thought about it. Yeah. So
for those who don't know, Chase comes from a very musical family. Some of the most amazing, just talented group of singers I've ever met. Every single one of them, him, his sisters, his aunts, however you guys want to say it. They're all just phenomenal vocalists.
My cousin.
Yep, his cousin.
My wife.
They're all, I'm so jealous of them. I wish I had their voices. It's wonderful.
Travis is he's being coy. He's a very talented musician.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, my talent comes out of my hands. I play guitar, some bass. I'm learning piano now. I cannot wait to try my chops on piano. Which I actually got to talk to you about that. We have a youth who's interested in playing piano.
I heard.
Yeah. So, did Carter tell you about it?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yep. I gave her the song "Trusting God to Practice" because I know we do that a lot. So whenever you're ready, I told her to come back in like 2 weeks because
I told him. I told him on Sunday. I said, Travis is. I said I have Travis help me out. I said, but I'm the leader. Said,
I know.
So I was like, I'm like, if you want to, not to take away anything from you, because obviously I've learned from you, but it's like I'm like, if somebody wants to do it, like
Come to
Give him
you,
my
yeah.
give him my number. You know, like give.
I was yeah, I thought it was so funny. I was like, all right, I guess I'll vet her out real quick and see what she just feels like she's moved to serve and that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome to see. But anyways, on to some other stuff. Let's talk a little bit of Florida, Georgia. Man, so who do you?
You talking? You want to talk? You want to talk sport like football or just college? Like, what are we going?
We only got a little bit of time left. I just want to talk about Florida, Georgia in general, and
Okay,
then we can go
Florida,
to the
Georgia.
broader. We can talk to the
All
broader
right.
thing of college football right now, which is, in my opinion, kind of in a fiasco right now. The saving grace for college football right now is that it has a 12-game playoff.
Yeah.
The downside right now is that the transfer portal and the money for the is it FIL? What is that thing?
NIL.
NIL, the NIL stuff, man, it's changing kind of the way college football works. And I know we want to prepare our athletes to get to the pros. And I do think they should be compensated for the work they put in, especially for the guys who get hurt in college and never get to play again.
Yeah.
They deserve to be compensated and all that stuff. But it's changed the way some of these teams operate, and it kind of makes it a little bit funky. But that's a conversation for another day. Let's talk about Florida, Georgia.
So Florida, Georgia. All right. So we have the 4-3 Florida Gators versus the 6-1 Georgia Bulldogs.
Yep.
So,
which, let's be honest, if this was Florida from their first 2 games of the season, I would not at all think we have a chance. Because looking at I believe we had one of the hardest schedules in the nation. And the fact that we're 4-3 right now, our coach is on the hot seat, by the way. If he doesn't get us a bowl game this year, because we missed a bowl game for the first time last year in a long time, and the way the way our team was playing the first 2-3 games of the season, I'll put it this way: the boosters were just a few $1 million short of buying his contract out before he got his first win of the season. So
we can go into some statistics.
Okay.
With it, right? So we have the 4-3. We have the 4-3 Florida Gators versus the 6-1 Georgia Bulldogs. Let's see. Florida Gators' best win so far this season. I would have to put it. I mean, your best win this season is against Kentucky. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Y'all pretty much smoke Kentucky, but Kentucky has had some. Who did they beat? Kentucky, pretty good team, right?
They beat. Was it
not that long? Oh, Ole Miss. Yeah, they beat Ole Miss. So beating Kentucky after they beat Ole Miss, that's a pretty good feat for you guys. I would.
Ole Miss, who was ranked
6.
They were 6 at the time.
Yep, they were 6 at the time.
They're 19 now.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got 2 losses, unfortunately, so they might end up missing the playoffs. But
did y'all switch quarterbacks?
Yes, we did. We had to. Our QB, our starter, got hurt. He's out for the season. So we had to switch to DJ Lagway.
Yeah, so you have DJ Lagway now.
Yep.
Who is 54 for 86. So for y'all that don't know, that's 54 passes completed out of 86 total passes.
Mm-hmm.
He has 1,024 yards.
Yep.
He has 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So he's even keel.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have any rushing touchdowns?
No rushing touchdowns yet. But he's a heck of an athlete, that's for sure.
Okay, so. And then on the other hand, we have Carson Beck, which, in my opinion, Carson Beck is not having the greatest season.
Fell off the map for Heisman. He came into the season leading the way for Heisman voting, did he not? Or he was at least one of the top 2 or 3.
He did, but that was based off of last year's stats, and we lost 2 of our best receivers in the draft, Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. They both are in the NFL now. And so, we have a really young wide receiver core, but still, he's 165 for 250. He's got 1993 total yards. He's got 15 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And he has, I think he's got a couple rushing touchdowns this season. Zero.
Athlete, man.
No, he's got 0.
Yeah, but he's still a good. He's still a heck of a quarterback. Still a good player.
He is a good quarterback. I think. I mean, he is a good quarterback, but this is probably he is no comparison from last year.
No,
but that's because he had a stud wide receiver.
Yeah.
Core. But I would say if the offense and defense that showed up against Texas shows up on Saturday, there's no chance Florida will win.
No. If you guys didn't watch that game, golly, dude, Texas was rolling. They were rolling for the season coming into that game, and Georgia just absolutely embarrassed them. Like I don't know how who's ranked number 1 right
now. What, in the nation?
Yeah.
Or Oregon.
Was Texas not number 1 at the time?
Texas was number 1 at the time.
And you guys rolled them. And you guys are number 2 right now. Oregon's lucky they're undefeated, because that's the only reason why they're number 1 right now. Because with the beating that Georgia put on Texas, they really should have moved up to number
1. The scoreboard did not
do justice,
reflect what happened on that field, because they scored some garbage time points at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I mean, the defense put on a heck of a show.
Yeah. Listen, let's be real here, though, right? Because you guys have had some closer, not had the best performances. I mean, the Texas game was definitely your best performance of the season as a team, as a unit, as a whole. Are you worried at all that Florida could come in there and keep it close and potentially walk away with the win?
No.
Oh, he's saying that just for the fans, guys.
No,
I genuinely think we have an opportunity.
Let's be honest here. And, I am a diehard Georgia fan. Florida's a huge rival of ours, but I'm SEC football. Yeah. So I like anybody in the SEC except Alabama.
Yeah. I think everybody feels that way.
So it's like
which hold on. If you guys don't know, his brother-in-law is a Bama fan.
Correct. Yeah. So if Florida's going against anybody, I'm going for Florida. But obviously now. But I have to say with confidence, and I know you know this, and you may
No. I don't. I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that we do have a chance. I really do, because DJ Lagway is such a.
Let me. Here's some backstory. Before the season started, me and Travis were talking about the Florida Gators in Georgia, and Travis is like, "I think we're going to win 2 games at most."
It was looking that way. That's how bad we looked the first couple of games.
But I will say, you guys have not. I mean, it's not any kind of even disrespect, trash talk, but you guys have not been relevant in the SEC since Kyle Trask. Quarterback, man,
which it's been such a disappointment trying to find somebody. It's so wild because we got that's another thing for the head coach too, right? Because one of the things that he was supposed to be really good at, and he's done a decent job, okay job at best, right? I don't know how we keep getting getting good grades for our recruiting class, because every year he's been our head coach now for this is his 4th year. The team, he was touted as being a really good recruiter. When he came to Florida, it has not translated to on the field.
Well,
it really hasn't.
Yeah, but you also have to look at it now that college is not all just about recruiting now. You had the transfer portal is huge, and if you do not take advantage of the transfer portal, you're gonna fall behind. Yeah. I mean, no disrespect, but look at Dabo Swinney. He doesn't use the transfer portal, and they fall short every year.
Yeah, and it's a shame because and you know what really stands out more now too, is because the transfer portal is so huge. That means your coaching staff has to be good at being able to develop players and get them into the program a lot
100%,
faster than
yeah.
before. Like before transfer portal and NIL, you had time to build your team and recruit good guys and have them sitting in the wing. And by the time they were sophomores, really usually very rarely were people having freshmen starting, but by the time they were sophomores, they were really good and they were ingrained in your program, right?
Oh
With the
yeah.
transfer portal now, you gotta if you need a good lineman and you've got a 5-star lineman sitting behind somebody at Alabama, that guy wants playing time. If he comes out of high school and he's a 5-star recruit and he knows he's like a top 10, top 15 player, before they would just go to these schools and they just sit there because they're just like, oh, I'm just waiting for my chance. I'm just waiting for my chance.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got the transfer portal. If you're a 5-star O lineman and you know you can go start at, for instance, to say you can go start at Georgia, you're not sitting behind the O lineman in Alabama because you're like, I
Yeah.
want that PT. You know, I'm trying to get to the NFL.
It's like it's not. I mean, not even just the playing time, but people are chasing championships,
Exactly. Yeah.
and they're falling short as well. Like
Yep.
I have perfect examples of like people that Georgia won the national championship back to back, 2021 and 2022. So in 2021, we had a guy, a wide receiver. We played Alabama in the national championship. We had a wide receiver that scored touchdowns and had a great game against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
We won the national championship. He won the national championship with us. The next year, he's on Alabama's team.
Yep.
And what happens that next year? We win the national championship again.
Yep.
And Alabama doesn't even make the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's like why? You know,
ends up as number 5 too.
it's like why? You know, why leave the team that just won the national championship? And then the second one in 2022, we won the national championship, and then again, this guy had a great game, and he caught the game-winning pass in the semifinals of the playoffs against Ohio State.
Yep.
You know, A.D. Mitchell, that's his name.
Yep.
And the next year, he transferred to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas fell short.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I understand. That's one aspect I don't understand. It's like,
yeah, when you win a championship, why would you leave a championship team when you especially in that situation, right? It's one thing if you're like 4th or 5th receiver on the depth chart.
yeah.
When you're 1 or 2 and you're catching touchdowns and you're an integral part of that championship team, why in the world would you leave, right?
I mean, he was the clear number 2.
Yeah.
In 2021,
that's the
that
bad
guy
side of the transfer portal, right? Some of these guys think they're, they're like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere else and do it. I'm like, come on, man.
But I mean, in 2021, the guy's name was Jermaine Burton. He went to Alabama in 2022, but in 2021 he was the clear number 2 on the team because I mean obviously he was going to be behind George Pickens because George Pickens was there. George Pickens was a menace on the field.
Yes,
but I mean,
you know what's crazy? Are both those guys in the NFL now? AD and I know AD Mitchell's in the NFL now.
Jermaine Burton's in the NFL, yeah.
But where are they now? You know what I mean? Like, where are they now? You think of how much if both of them had stayed on that team. You know, I mean, Jermaine would have had that second championship to his name. Probably would have been drafted in the first round or early second round. And the same thing for AD Mitchell. You know, he probably would have been able to contribute to the team. Probably would have helped y'all be in a better position in 2023. And now, I mean, I think AD Mitchell is with
the Colts.
The Colts, I think so. Yeah,
I think he's on the Colts.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it goes to show you. But Florida. That's the thing about Florida too is we haven't been able, and then not only have we not been able to transfer that or get that talent to that recruiting class that looks good on paper to have that show up on the field, we've gotten progressively worse every year. Like we went from Kyle Trask's last year of being we were a ranked team to the after he leaves and we don't have him anymore. We finished the season unranked. We still make a bowl game.
That was the 2020 season, correct?
Yes.
That was the COVID season.
COVID season, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year we finish uh, we get blown out in the season, that game to South Carolina. Most devastating loss of my life. For any guys who know, in the SEC, I don't care how bad you are, you don't ever want to lose to South Carolina. Like if you lose to Vanderbilt, it's a fluke. Everybody knows it's a fluke kind of thing. But if you lose to USC, because USC is a bunch of they love to talk.
Oh, they're the worst fan base in the SEC, dude.
Worst. I can't stand losing to
Well, I don't know. Alabama has a pretty bad fan base.
Yeah, but at least with Alabama, there's a respect there. Like if they beat you, it's because they played a heck of a game. Whereas if you lose to USC, I'm sorry guys. It is no one who thinks their program, like everybody knows in the SEC there are 4 programs with like historical programs. You have Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Florida. Those are the pinnacles of the SEC. Like those are the programs of the SEC.
I don't know. You gotta throw Auburn in there too.
I mean Auburn's claim to fame in the SEC is the Iron Bowl against Alabama, though. Let's be honest. Like Auburn's always, outside of that year from Cam Newton, they've always been like that.
Yeah, but what about
like
that
Alabama
year?
light, the running backs.
What about that year that Auburn went and beat in one season? They beat Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and they played in the SEC championship.
Yeah,
against Georgia, and we beat them. But still, Auburn has sparks, man.
Yeah, they have sparks. I'll give them some credit. I've always thought of Auburn as Alabama light, and maybe in my head that's my fault because I always think of them as like the if Alabama's the big brother, Auburn's the little brother, because they're so close to each other.
Yeah, but those are the big 4 in the SEC.
The big 4, and then if I had to pick 5, then Auburn would definitely be 5.
But now the SEC has expanded, and there's no more divisions anymore.
Yeah, there's no more divisions, which sucks.
We've in the last 5 or so years, we've went from 12 teams to 16 teams now.
Which I mean, it's understandable. Everybody wants to. So it used to be the trope. Everybody used to think the SEC people always think the SEC is so good. And first of all, the SEC is that good, because all of our teams are always pretty decent. And our saving grace, where some other conferences don't have, is that the reason why our SEC gets so much credit for being good is because when we play other teams, not only are our teams good, but even when other teams from other conferences talk trash and they play against us, we beat them, right? And we're not talking about we beat
smack them.
Yeah, we smack top teams from other conferences, right? Texas and Oklahoma. Texas just comes to the SEC for the first time this year. Most of the time, the toughest team they played against before joining the SEC was Oklahoma. It was almost always going to be guaranteed. Oklahoma and Texas were going to be playing each other for their conference championship. They come to SEC. They play a good SEC team for the first time in Georgia, and what happens? Get the brakes beat off of them, right? It's that good. It's that hey, welcome to some real college football moment.
and Oklahoma is falling horribly,
falling apart.
I mean, they're 1-4.
Exactly, right. And you're talking about some where they come from, some historical programs.
I'm sorry, they're in the conference. They're 1-4, right? Yeah. But in football, they're 3-2. Baker Mayfield would be so disappointed right now.
Oh yeah, and Kyler Murray, come on. Man. But listen, they found out what some real football was like, right? Because that's the thing about SEC is top to bottom, because it's so competitive and we've always had to compete with each other, right? There were every time one of our teams in the SEC has a really good team, it's not a matter of how good they are just here. Sometimes we've had teams that were so good where we're just man, they could probably beat some of these lower tier NFL teams. That's how good that some of these teams were. Right? There's been years when SEC has put 5 or 6 teams in the top 12.
Oh yeah,
that's a real thing.
I've always being an SEC guy, I've always said SEC is the best conference and the hardest conference in college football. And I always say the best competitor in any other Power 5 conference can face Vanderbilt or South Carolina and have a dogfight with them.
Exactly. Yep. And they always
Like
think it's not the case, and so you're messing around with the wrong division.
SEC football is just different.
Yeah,
It's
it's real
just
football.
it's just different.
Yeah,
We got
top to
these
bottom.
we got these cornbread
Oh
redneck
yeah.
Southern dudes out there, bro,
Yes.
and just like destroying them.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Man.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, it just depends on what Georgia team shows up. To be honest with you,
Yeah. Well, give us a before we wrap up here. Give us a score.
score
Yeah.
I will go 31-17.
31-17. Wow.
Our defense is pretty good,
Yeah. They
and
are. They are.
I think that Trevor Etienne is gonna come and show Florida.
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah,
I'll my score's a little bit closer, but I'm gonna say because it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be a shocker. All right. You ready for this?
mm-hmm.
Upset alert. I'm taking Florida 27-24. It's going to be a close one.
All
It's
right.
going to be a close one. I'm ready for that one. So,
Before we
well,
close,
yep.
I'm gonna jump in a little bit of NFL at the moment.
Yeah.
I have two questions. Who do you think is going to go to the Super Bowl?
Oh man. All right. It's
Not win yet, not win, but
not win.
which two teams are
I'll
going to
say
the Super
this.
Bowl?
I think it's finally Lamar's year. I really think it's the Ravens from the AFC are going to Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then from the NFC, man, I think the Lions as well. Dude, what Dan Campbell is doing with the Lions right now, dude, that program they needed him. The last 2 years, especially resurrecting Jared.
What Jared Goff is doing
Yes.
right now is insane, bro.
Insane,
Like
dude.
he is
like games where he's like 18 of 20 passing. Like what?
I'm gonna quote Cam Newton here because
Yeah.
Cam Newton's got a podcast called Fourth and Quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
He says Jared Goff is a game manager, which I agree.
Yeah. He's a heck of a game manager.
But he is managing the game, and he says Tom Brady style.
Yes, Tom Brady-esque, very much so. I mean, it is.
Dude. Like
dude, that whole team believes right now too.
I have never seen Jared Goff play. Like, actually, I've lied. Jared Goff has played this good when he took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Yes, he was playing that good. Yep, I agree.
But I mean, this is 2 years in a row that he's just killing it.
Absolutely killing it. And then the team has just gotten better too. Like what is his name? The guy, the punt returner, Jahmyr Gibbs. Right? No, that's
he's the running back, man. He's killing it, phenomenal bro. Game.
But the punt returner, right? He gets three punt returns. The first one almost takes it. The second one almost takes it. The third one finally takes it all the way back. Like what are we talking? Like we're talking straight Deion Sanders, like D'Angelo Hall, old school. Just this guy's a phenomenal punt returner, Devin Hester style.
Crazy stat line here. For you, just rolling off of that, okay? Jared Goff, in that last game against the Titans, only threw for 85 yards.
Man.
And
didn't need to do anything.
He threw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he only threw for 85 yards.
Yep. What was that completion percentage?
He was 12 for 15.
I think he went 10 for 10 before he got his first incompletion.
Yeah, but 2 games back he had 100. He had a perfect passer rating.
Yeah, which was unbelievable.
Because he
went like 18 of 18 or 19 of 19.
Yeah, he didn't miss a pass.
Dude, I'm telling you.
But it's like when you have a like a double-headed beast in your backfield from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, bro.
Yes.
Like that is a unstoppable team right now.
Yeah.
And then you have on the side Jameson Williams, even though he's suspended right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
And then in your slot you have Sam Laporta. Like, come on, dude. That is a stacked team.
And it's homegrown too. That's the thing that's wonderful about that team. It's homegrown. I mean, aside from David Montgomery, he's been more of a journeyman running back.
Yeah.
But he's really found his stride those last several years. No matter where he's been, he's showed up, and that was a great job for them getting him, adding that him to that team for that dynamic. And then Sam Laporta, man, he's been so clutch as a tight end, dude. Absolute clutch. So
I hate the fact I hate what happened to Aiden Hutchinson. Like I hate that.
Yeah, he's out for the season now.
But
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think Detroit is going to go for the NFC.
Yeah.
And I finally think it's Josh Allen's turn to go to the Super Bowl.
You think Josh Allen is going to get it?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Man, he's playing lights out football right now.
He is. I think
by himself, dude. By himself.
Another crazy stat for the first time in his career. I think he didn't have a turnover until this past weekend, right?
Yeah, he threw his first one.
Season.
Yeah,
like unbelievable interception or fumble. Like that's crazy for him.
It's just I mean, he is playing lights out football, and he's doing it by himself, man.
Yeah,
like he's proving that he does not need Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I will say, what is disappointing though is I try to hold on sometimes to some of these older players, or, from yesteryear, and Amari Cooper just is not that guy anymore. I thought it was just maybe that in Cleveland he was, when he left Dallas, he got traded to Cleveland.
He got he got a touchdown.
He did, but he's just not getting. He just doesn't make those catches anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he
used to get 6-7 catches a game, 100 yards.
He's getting old.
Now he's maybe just taking him some time to get into the.
He's getting old though, man. He's getting old.
It's sad. I hate seeing it for him, but I mean it's part of football.
But I think ultimately, I think Detroit will win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, you think they'll win it? I think it'll be Detroit versus Baltimore. I think, like I said, I think it's Lamar's turn. I think it's finally his. Between him and Derrick Henry, dude, it's so stupid. You can't stop that.
I mean, it is stupid, but I mean, you got a dual-headed beast in the backfield of the Lions right now.
Yeah. And that's true. And then the Lions' defense is better than Baltimore's.
They are, and Baltimore's defense
got all kinds of problems.
I mean, they just got beat by Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it.
Like
that was shocking.
I mean, obviously, I know that's a rival game. It's a division game.
But even still, I mean, Jameis threw 3 interceptions that should have been caught, and that defense didn't catch a single one of them in their hands. So that's a problem. That's a real problem. So,
but ultimately, I think it's going to be Detroit.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. I mean, Detroit finally getting one. Motor City. Imagine that parade.
Second question, and last question for the night. Who is MVP and who is Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Man, so MVP, it's okay. It's probably not going to be Lamar Jackson because he's won the last 2. Unless he just
no, he didn't win it back to back.
He didn't win it back to back. He won
He won it last year, and then Patrick Mahomes won it the year before.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago before that, Lamar won it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him win his third. I think this would be his third one. Right? Or
this would be his third one if he wins this year. Yeah.
I'd like to see him get it. Realistically speaking, though, if Jared Goff continues, it'll be hard. It'll be a hard choice between Jared Goff and Josh Allen. I really think that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Do you think
both of them are stupid?
Do you think a rookie could be in the conversation for MVP?
If Jaden Daniels,
if
it's going to be a rookie, it's going to be Jaden Daniels.
That's where I'm going with this.
If he continues on his path that he's on right now, he's on an absolute tear right now too.
We're second in the NFC. We're second in the NFC.
Exactly. It depends on how he finishes. How their record finishes compared to Detroit's is going to be the real.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's going to help or hurt him. And right now, his biggest fight right now is going to be because right now he got injured his last game. Right, he's going to be dealing with an injury now, and we're going to see how that plays out through the season, the rest of the season. Because he's a tough kid. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely a tough kid. But I believe his injury was it not an abdominal injury?
It was rib.
His rib.
He just got bruised ribs.
Yeah, on his right side though, which
But
people
he
don't think
played.
about that.
That was against Carolina. But I mean, he played the
Yeah,
full game against Chicago. And
yeah,
I
he
know
did.
you.
Which, but
I
he still wasn't. He
know.
still wasn't his typical, um,
No, he played more conservative. But I know you
yeah,
saw that. I know you saw the play
that
of the
Hail Mary.
year,
Oh yeah, dude.
dude. He
For
threw
me,
it from the opposing 30-yard line.
yeah, yeah, on the run too.
He's got a.
You know,
He's got a
he's got a
cannon, dude.
cannon, and he's accurate too, man. That's the thing
He
that's crazy.
is.
And here's the thing: he people won't give him a lot of credit for, and I hope they do as the season goes on. But the guy's got a good head in his shoulders. He makes some
He
great
does, man.
decisions.
He
That's the
does.
reason why his completion percentage is so high.
And like
Um,
I mean, the thing about it is, like, I liked him at LSU. Like, I
yeah,
liked when he played at LSU.
yeah.
But I mean,
I mean, it's
he's
clear unless he gets hurt, he's definitely rookie of the year.
yeah,
And I
hundred
think that's what's going
percent.
to keep him from getting MVP.
Yeah,
Because I don't know if we've ever had a QB win rookie of the year and MVP in the
never.
same
Well,
season.
you've never had a. There's never been a rookie to win MVP.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
I don't know if they can continue
I mean, you know,
only because because Josh
yeah,
Allen and Jared Goff and
I
Lamar
know,
Jackson are
I
all
know.
having such good seasons. The NFL will be like, well, rookie year is a good accomplishment to have, anyways.
Yeah,
It's one of those political things where they're just be like, oh, we might, he'll get rookie of the year, so it'll
but I
be
mean,
fine
he's
if he
right up
doesn't.
there with those guys, man.
I know.
He has right now he's got 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So like total touchdowns and with 2 interceptions.
Yep. Which, like
But
I said, I hate it for him, but I promise you that's probably what's going to happen.
oh, I
The
know. Yeah,
NFL is
I
going to
know.
be like, like in order for it's one of those things where like in order for him to really get that award, he's got to be like far and away. He's got to blow those guys out of the water far and away
Oh
to get
yeah.
that MVP award, which I hate it for him because it's not fair. But it's the same way where like if someone's like, oh, in order for like a running back or a receiver to get that record, like
Mm-hmm.
they gotta have a historical season.
Yes.
They're gonna do the same thing for him.
But I mean, you got to look at what he like. He's doing all this with who's name the on our offense. Name one person that stands out
Oh,
because
dude,
you can.
Terry McLaurin.
I know you can only name one.
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, no, the Brian Robinson Jr., the running
Well,
back.
yeah,
Oh my gosh,
I know, but
but
like
that's it.
but people
Yeah,
are like, oh yeah, just Terry.
yeah.
That's
I
all
will
we
say
have, man.
it's amazing to see because the transformation that team had, man. Getting I hate it for him, but getting rid of old guy head coach
Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera, and
I
then
didn't like him as a coach, man.
yeah, he's a good defense. He's a good DC. He's never been a good head coach. He's never been a successful head coach, aside from the one season in Carolina with Cam Newton, which actually I don't even think he was the head coach then.
Yeah, he had Cam Newton.
He had Cam Newton. That was him in
Mm-hmm.
2015. He's never been a successful head coach, but he's a heck of a DC guy. But for them to move on from him and then to draft the players they've made, the moves they've made, especially with all the controversy of the team getting
Yeah.
sold, changing the name.
And we have Zach Ertz now.
Yeah, you guys have Zach Ertz now, he's bounced around, right?
We have
Left
Austin Eckler.
Philadelphia, went to Arizona. Now he's here.
We
Austin
have
Eckler
Austin
leaves
Eckler.
San Diego, or lost at LA Rams now. Not Rams, LA
No,
Chargers.
Chargers. Yeah.
And comes to Washington. Dude, the GM, if anything, I'll tell you what now. So not only will you guys a rookie year, you're probably going to get GM of the year too. He's definitely probably going to get an award for that.
I think he should get Coach of the Year because I mean,
Oh yeah,
how
and coach, yeah,
he has turned the Commanders around is just insane, dude.
phenomenal,
Yeah, like
doing a heck of a job.
you go from being last place in the division to
yeah,
you're second in the NFC.
yeah.
That's
Dude, I can't.
crazy.
Have you guys played the Cowboys yet?
Not yet.
I can't wait to see that game because Cowboys can't stop a leak right now.
So we play.
I hope he's healthy because that's going to be a heck. He might drop 40 points.
This week
drop 40 points.
This week we play the Giants again.
Mhm.
So if we beat the Giants, we'll sweep them.
We'll sweep. Yeah, you guys will sweep them. Yep.
And then
Yeah.
we got to play the Eagles twice. We got to play Dallas twice.
Yeah. Which I don't. To be honest, I don't see the hardest part about. I mean, the Eagles game will be a tough game, and the Dallas will be a tough. Those will both be tough series. You'll probably split both those series.
I think we'll split. The
Yeah.
Eagles for sure. I know we'll
Yeah.
probably split them.
But y'all probably split. You guys have a chance to sweep the Dallas Cowboys. I think
It's
so. Their defense is
it's
so bad.
yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
Their offense is bad too right now.
Yeah. Dak Prescott got his stupid most expensive dude. We'll save that for next week.
Yeah.
Next week we'll discuss Dak Prescott's. We'll talk a little bit more football next week, and we'll discuss Dak Prescott's contract and the season he's having. But with that, let's call it a night. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, throw it in the comments below. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Two Dads in a Pod. And I believe that's all of our Facebook
website. Well. If you guys want to listen, you can also go to rss.com.
Yep. Search Two Dudes in a Pod.
Two Dads in a Pod.
Or yeah, Two Dads in a Pod. I keep seeing two dudes.
But
Two Dads in a Pod.
Also, if you ever have any thing you want us to go over, any topic or whatever, just leave it in a comment. And,
whenever. And never forget, we're doing this because we're about faith, family, football. Faith comes first. It's all about God. We wouldn't be here where we are right now without his help. And so we're always grateful for that and the position he's put us in. And then, we love our families. We've said it a million times, run through a brick wall for them. And it's always fun to talk football, but that comes last behind the other two. So.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
All right.
Our values, and, if you stick around, hopefully you can learn, and hopefully we can learn from y'all as well. So,
All right. With that, we're out. Peace.
All right. See you later.